Get over here!
Just let the cat do his thing. All right, so next question.
Okay, I'm looking over in episode 21 now.
All right.
Doo-ba-dee-doo-doo-doo.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
Okay. From New Age Retro Player 4, again. What is, by your definition, a bad main character and or villain? I'm sorry, just asking for a character that we don't like?
I don't know.
Or
Okay,
are you
by
asking us to...
I think it's asking us to define like what makes a bad character or what makes or bad main character or a bad villain, right? At the end of the day, a bad main character is an uninteresting character. Like a main character like for the most part should be loved for some reason. And like a main character can also be hated. Like that's a risky path to take, but it can be done.
Yeah, there are some things I like that have unlikable protagonists. I think it's interesting when you do that.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, like, there has to be a reason behind why they are loved and why they are hated. Like, you do not want your protagonist to be uninteresting. You do not want a protagonist to be overshadowed by literally every other character in the game. That's the main thing. And a bad villain is a villain that does not have a good motivation. Like, why are they a villain? Why do they do what they do? Why are they opposing the main protagonists? If you can answer those questions and the answers to those questions are interesting, you have the makings of a good villain. A bad villain will basically have zero motive. Like, a bad villain basically has no motivation and is just doing what they do just for the sake of doing it.
To be evil.
And that's the thing, like, characters, like, villains that do evil things for the sake of being evil, like, can be interesting, but there has to be a reason why, you know what I mean? Like...
And if they can't do that, they need to at least make a story or an obstacle that's interesting to watch the main character get through.
Oh, I see where I gotta go. Yeah.
I think... Because I know some people who will refuse to watch something because they don't like the main character. And I personally find that a little bit narrow-minded. But I do think it's important to at least be able to empathize with your main character.
Yes.
So if you're writing something, the first thing you need to know about any character is what is their goal, what do they want.
Yes. Like, if a character is there just for the sake of being there, that leads into dangerous territory of them becoming boring. And you do not want that.
Yeah, that's such a broad question. It's kind of hard to give like a concrete answer because I don't think there are concrete answers. I think if there was a specific formula to making good heroes and villains, then all stories would have good heroes.
I mean, there's like formats, there are rules to writing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you do what you want to do when it comes to writing your characters and like writing your stories and things like that. But at the same time, there are, I guess what you could say is like there are many ways to make a character good, but there are certain things you want to avoid when writing characters so that you don't fall under the this character is bad category. And the very, very main thing that you want to avoid is making a character uninteresting. If the audience doesn't care about the character, something's not right.
Yeah.
And that's basically the long and short of it.
Characters need flaws, characters need motivations.
And that's where the
I
whole...
don't think that every character personally needs to be three-dimensional, but your main character does.
Yes. And that's where the whole Mary Stu, Gary Stu quote comes in. A character who's a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu is basically perfect in every way, and that's not interesting. Like, that can get very boring. Like, it's fine for, in fact, it's fine for some NPCs or, like, some characters to be Mary Sues or Gary Stews at some point or one or another, but if you want to make them interesting, there has to be a point in the narrative where that is challenged. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that is... I mean, the way to... When I say a three-dimensional character, that means that they have three-dimensional character traits. Which means the first dimension of that trait is something that you can observe or notice about them. It's just a fact about them. The second dimension is having a reason why they are that way. And the third dimension is having a point in the story in which that is challenged, and they either go against or reaffirm that quality of themselves.
Exactly. And, again, like, you can make a character interesting in so many different, countless ways. Yeah. Like, they are this great hero who suddenly sees the ugly in the world. You see these, rule-abiding, characters that, like, that are the ultimate moral compass. They suddenly become interesting when, like, they're put in a position where being that moral compass is a bad thing.
I'll give a really simple one, and this isn't like an award-winning character trait or anything, but Rydia from Final Fantasy IV
is
a black mage who, at the beginning, notably does not know the spell Fire, even though you have Tella who can do Fire, and that's like an easy black mage spell. And at one point, they need her to cast Fire, and she won't do it. So that's your first dimension, is you notice she does not know how to do Fire. Second dimension is because her city was destroyed and her mom was killed in an explosion, in a fiery explosion. That's your second dimension. There's a backstory, there's a reason for it to be there. Third dimension, then, is when they say, okay, we understand that, we understand you're scared, but we need to melt this ice wall to get through to help people. Can you do this? And she is able to put aside her fears to learn Fire.
Suddenly you got, like...
Now you have an arc, and that's a very small, very simple arc, which is why I chose it as an example. But from that, you have a three-dimensional character trait, and three-dimensional characters will be made up of traits like these. Not all of their traits have to be three-dimensional, but... There you go.
And to go ahead and, like, give an example on the other part of that question, which was a villain... A good example of an example of a good Final Fantasy villain, I'd say, like, as I've expressed previously, is Kefka Palazzo. Because, like, Kefka is, like, very much evil, right? But there's a reason behind why he is evil, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, as you go through the game, you learn why he is the way he is, and... It's a legitimate, like, he has actually a legitimate reason as to why he does what he does. Is it excusable? Doesn't make him right? Absolutely not. But he has his reasons. From there, it's basically a matter of, like, what motivates him? Like, why does he do this, and, like, what is he after? And he's after ultimate power so that he can basically fulfill his vision of nihilism through the world. Is he doing it just for the sake of being nihilistic? No, he has a reason behind it. It's insane. It's like a really ridiculous reason.
But at least he has his own, like, internal philosophy.
But you can define the reason why.
Yeah.
Whereas another character, another villain in the series, like, I even forget his name. Like, oh no, wait, you know what? We kind of mentioned him in a previous episode. Necron.
Yeah.
He comes out of nowhere. Like, has this, like...
We don't know his deal. He's
like,
just
we don't know what he does. We don't know why he's here. We don't know what motivated him to come in and just, like...
blob of nameless dark force.
Yeah, he just came in to hijack the entire thing. We don't know why. We are... And, quite frankly, we kind of don't care because we want to, like... We don't want to fight Necron. We want to fight Kuja, who is a much more interesting villain.
That was kind of the problem with Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild, which is Calamity Ganon's kind of interesting when you look at Ganondorf as a character as a whole over the entire series of Zelda. Like, to think about how Ganondorf was in, say, like, Wind Waker, where, like, he just kind of wanted to help his people, so he tried to get the Triforce, and now it's all, like, gotten out of hand. Like, thinking about him now being this, like, uncontrollable force of rage that is Calamity Ganon is kind of interesting. But for the sake of Breath of the Wild as a self-contained game, like, all of the nuance of Ganon is kind of gone.
Yeah, because all you know...
like, fighting the big evil cloud of darkness.
Basically. Like, what are we going to be more interested in? Like, this hulking mass of dark energy that is pervading over the world, and you don't know why. Like, if you were to play Breath of the Wild alone without any other context, you wouldn't know the reason behind why Calamity Ganon is doing what he does. He's just there, and you gotta stop him. Whereas Wind Waker's Ganondorf is, like, a fan favorite because it's a sympathetic villain and you understand why
Yeah.
he does what he does.
Even though what he does is still wrong.
Yeah, what he does is still wrong, but you understand, you get him.
I feel like there's even kind of a, like, he's kind of even melancholy about it, of, like, I just wanted to help his people. Like, he even knows, like,
yeah, like
the
he
Gerudo
knows,
are all
like,
dead.
Like,
you know, this didn't work.
Like, after years upon years of being reincarnated and, like, seeing the results of what he has done and what the heroes have done, he knows what he does is, like, heinous and evil. But he's willing to do it if it means he can save his people. And that's interesting. And that pretty much is what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's a very broad answer to a very broad question, but I hope it was at least kind of interesting.
I hope we were able to at least enlighten you as to what at the very least we think are interesting villains, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright, so I think we got time for maybe one or two more, but again, like, this is going on for a bit, and get out of- oh, freaking Waddle Dees! Go on.
Question coming from Drawboy66.
Again?
Out of all the spirits in World of Light, which were the hardest to resurrect?
Ooh! Ooh, that's interesting.
I mean, the boss comes as...
Oh, yeah, the
like,
boss was definitely one that just, like, got me so heated. Like, that was a hard one.
Pauline was hard until I went into it with, like, the right spirits to make it easier.
Yeah.
Like, it really helps to have something that starts you with a ranged weapon. Like a super scope or a staff.
Another spirit that, like, gave me a lot of trouble was, 9 volt and 18 volt.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that was a really hard one in my opinion.
Dr. Wily was hard.
Dr. Wily
when I first got to it. When I came back to it later with more spirit power, it was manageable.
Like honestly, Dr. Wily's was not hard when you got a spirit that gave you the Franklin badge.
Oh yeah. Franklin badge, or like also like something that heals you every time you get a KO.
And I wouldn't call them the hardest I fought, but definitely the hardest, I can also go ahead and name the spirit that was one of the harder ones to get, but I also really enjoyed them most. Akuma and Sagat.
Those are just neat, like, no frills fights.
Like, they were fun, they were hard, but goodness gracious, that was exhilarating. I love the Akuma and Sagat spirits.
I like that whole section too, where it was like the world map.
Oh yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights.
Those are my favorite
me.
parts of any of the maps, when it like became like the map of a specific game.
Yeah, that like the world map of Street Fighter was definitely the highlight for me when it came to the World of Light mode.
I really liked the Donkey Kong Country one.
That was also really nice.
That was a good part. I have a question here.
Man, how many races do you have, Mara?
This is the last person you said, right?
Yeah. But, like, we're up to 22, I think. Mara has the most missions at this point. Alright, go ahead.
This question comes from Dragon Reaper 98.
Alright.
What is your favorite Mega Man Battle Network game?
Mega Man Battle Network 3 Blue Moon.
Okay. What happens in that one? I didn't play past 2.
It's the one, oh gosh, like... It's the one where you gotta go to the military base of, what's the evil, organization in Mega Man Battle Network?
World 3?
Yeah, the World 3, base on the island. And it's the one where, like, you lose, But, yeah, no. It's the one where Mega Man sacrifices himself at the end. And, it's kind of a general, story of, like, you know, cyber terrorism and everything like that. Like, it's not like the Red Sun tournament or anything like that. Was it 3 Blue Moon, actually, now that I think about it? Or is it just Blue? Because I remember in Mega Man 4 was Red Sun.
I think it's Red Sun and Blue Moon.
Yeah, but I think that was Mega Man 4. What was Mega Man 3?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Can you look it up for me, please?
Mega Man...
Battle Network 3.
Battle Network 3. 2 complimentary versions were released in North America and Europe, blue and white.
Blue and white, that's it. So it was just blue and white.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, yeah. Battle Network 3 Blue was the one that I would like to mention.
I gotta tell you, I played the first 2. I didn't get the third one because there were 2 versions of it, and I went, no.
Yeah, really though, like...
Nope, not doing that.
The thing is, like, there's not really much difference between the 2 versions except for the bosses you fight.
That just instantly deleted my interest in that series.
Like, if you played either through blue or white, you're gonna get the same experience either way for the most part. Except for Mega Man Battle Network 6, I believe, is where you... Either 5 or 6 is where, like, it's either you join up with Colonel or Proto Man.
Yeah.
That's the one where, like, there's the most difference. But at the same time, like, there's not really much difference between the versions, in my opinion. So if you play one, then you can skip the other. And, like, that's my opinion on it, anyway. But, oh gosh, where do I go from here? Okay, I see.
So what about that one makes it your favorite?
I think it had a really good collection of, like, net-navvy bosses that you could fight. An overall very balanced list of, bosses. I like the scenario. It's the one that actually, believe it or not, introduced me, to the Mega Man Battle Network franchise, and I really, appreciate it for that. I think it had an overall really good scenario, and a lot of the extras in the game were just really good. Also, I love the Undernet, arc with Mega Man Battle Network 3. Because I believe that's the one where you go through the Undernet ranking and you eventually fight Serenade. And that was something else.
Oh, cool.
And it had some of my favorite bosses in the game. Like, I believe Mega Man Battle Network 3 is where you fight Punk, and that's really cool. It's also, it was also the, one of the scenarios is, like, you gotta save the hospital, and, the one sabotaging the hospital was Plant Man.
Huh.
And, like, Plant Man was, like, one of the worst, robot masters, but in Mega Man Battle Network 3, he's actually pretty freaking terrifying.
I think Plant Man gets a bad rap, but yeah, I know he was definitely one of the least popular.
But yeah, like, of the Battle Network games, I definitely gotta go with 3.
Okay, I have a question here from Diego Reyna.
Alright.
Have you ever played Conker's Bad Fur Day, and would you like to have a sequel?
I have played Conker's Bad Fur Day, yes.
I've also played it.
Would I like a sequel? I wouldn't say no to one, but I'm not generally interested, to be honest.
It's a good game. I'd say it's not really my cup of tea, but, so I'm not, like, dying for a sequel for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Like, I really like Conker's Bad Fur Day and what it does and, like, how it handles its humor and everything like that. Like, obviously, it's, like, it's pretty clear what it wanted to do, and it did it well, in my opinion. Do I want a sequel to it? I'm not dying for one. If it happened, I would probably play it, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna be heartbroken about it.
It definitely deserves a place in, like, the collection of great Rare games.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's got that unmistakable British humor about it. And I do think it was kind of messed up that, I think it was for the Xbox One or something like that, they showed a graphics demo, and it was of a, like, HD Conker doing something, and everybody thought it was leading to an announcement of a Conker sequel, and it was not. And that's a jerk move, guys.
Yeah, it really was.
Either make a new Conker game or don't.
I'm Spider-Man! Alright, next question.
Alright, I'm going to jump forward again to episode 22, because I'm trying to get, like, a spread here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, this comes from Evan Artist, and it's another Mega Man themed question.
Alright.
Have either of you played any of the DS Mega Man games? Like Mega Man ZX, ZX Advent, and Star Force series?
Unfortunately, not much. I played a little bit of Mega Man Star Force, but that's about it. And even then, I didn't get to really play it all that much.
Those have, like, been on my long list of games I'm interested in. I would have to get back into the Battle Network series first, though.
Well, you don't really need to play the Battle Network series before you play Star Force.
I know, but I mean, I would want to.
I definitely prefer Mega Man Battle Network, though. Like, Star Force was good, but I don't know, it didn't hold my interest like Mega Man Battle Network did.
Did you see the latest death battle?
I did watch the latest death
Mega
battle,
Man
and
Battle
I was
Royale.
actually really happy with it. It
I
was
happy
really
with the
fun.
results, yeah.
It was really fun. I think them using Mega Man Battle Network's, like, the excuse for his speed was a little weak, because, again, we're not talking about, like, real-world, scenario
Yeah,
here,
that's
like,
not,
where, like,
that's not
you're
so
using
much
real...
like running a...
Yeah, it's not so much, like, running around, but more like you're basically turning yourself into Data, and Data moves around at, like, 100 times the speed of light.
Yeah, having a character like Mega Man.exe fight actual robots like X is gonna be a little strange, because it's... Like, EXE specifically exists on a completely different plane with different rules.
Yeah.
And I know he can, like, form in the real world by bio-merging with Lan, but I'm still glad he won, but...
Yeah, I'm glad he won, too, because I really liked Mega Man Battle Network, or Mega Man.exe.
It was a bit of a eyebrow raise.
Just a little bit. Alright, next question.
This one is going to come from... Ooh, I like this one a lot. Ginger Kays asks, who are your favorite and least favorite incarnations of Link, Zelda, and Ganon?
Ooh! Alright, least favorite incarnation of Link. Like, let's go one at a time here.
Okay.
Let's start with the least favorites of each.
Okay, least favorite Link.
Least favorite Link, huh? That's tough.
So not counting the, like, not
counting
games.
Yeah, not counting
things,
the CDI games.
Not
Screw
counting,
that.
Excuse Me, Princess.
Yeah, not counting that, though. Screw that noise.
Not counting Lunk.
See, that's, like, tough, because...
I can't think of a version of Link that, like, you don't like, because he doesn't talk, so he can't really annoy you that much.
Exactly. If I had to choose a least favorite, it'd probably just be the original.
I was thinking the same thing, just because, you know, there's not really much about him that can be imparted on you.
Exactly.
And I would still even say I like that version of him from the concept art.
Least favorite incarnation of Zelda? Alright, I'm not gonna cop out and say, like, Zelda's 1 or 2. Because, again, like... If we were to take Zelda as a tangible character and consider the games where she was actually, like, an active part of the story...
Yeah.
I'd have to go with Twilight Princess. Only because she's kind of overshadowed by Midna.
I agree that she's overshadowed by Midna, and it's not as much her story, but to me that's not a reason to not like her.
Oh no, like, I like Twilight Princess Zelda. Again, it's just, like... I wish she did more.
I feel like I'm being really mean by saying this, but I'm feeling Breath of the Wild Link as my Zelda as my least favorite Zelda.
See, I would have said Breath of the Wild, but...
I think it might actually be...
Here's the thing. I don't mind Breath of the Wild Zelda. I just think she has a lot of missed potential.
Yeah, I think that's why I don't like her, because I think she could have been...
I think she could have totally been better, like, if they put a little more emphasis on it. But again, like, I like her overall. It's just, like, I wish they did a little more, and I wish... Again, no offense to her voice actress, but...
Okay, I'm going to cheap out and say the Zelda, specifically the older sleeping Princess Zelda from The Adventure of Link. Because she really, really does do nothing but sleep and wake up at the end.
Man, I don't even know where to go. Yeah, unfortunately.
So again, I'm not picking a character because they annoy me. I'm just picking a character.
Yeah, honestly, like, I like every rendition of Zelda, like, to some extent.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, like, had a lot of missed potential, but there are still things I like about her. And yeah, I'm gonna cheap out too, to be honest. Zelda 2. Just because, you know, it's there.
Least favorite Ganon?
Least favorite Ganon, Calamity Ganon.
Yeah,
Like,
I gotta agree.
Like, easily.
I don't even like the boss fight. It's an interesting ending for a character if you're looking at him as a single character over the course of many games, but on its own, it's not very fun.
Whoa, frame rate.
Okay, the part of the question that I'm really excited for, though, favorite incarnation of Link.
Favorite incarnation of Link. Ooh.
Wind Waker.
Really?
Yeah. Because Wind Waker Link did not want this.
Yeah, he's
doing it anyway because he's a brave little guy, but he wants no part of this. How did I get in this barrel?
Yeah. Absolutely.
He does the like dorky little dance when he beats a boss fight. He has great facial expressions.
Yeah.
He loves his grandma. Her soup makes him super strong.
Oh man, yeah, that's really tough. For me personally,
he gets dizzy when he does a hurricane spin.
Let's see. For me personally, the version of Link I like the most. For reasons a lot more subtle, I gotta go with Majora's Mask.
Okay.
Like, specifically not because of, like, how Link himself behaves, but how he handles everything that's being thrown at him.
Well, and I mean, part of how Link works as a character is that he's your Link into the game. So I think it's okay in this case to have projected qualities onto him.
Yeah, and for me personally, like, I guess what really makes Link great in Majora's Mask is the adventure that he is going through in that game. And, like, he goes out of his way to help all the people in Termina. And just, like, the scenarios that he runs into. Also, just having different forms of Link in different races, that's really cool!
Yeah. An aspect of Link that, you know, never really gets explained as part of his character, but this is just, like, how I always saw Link, is that I appreciate that he's really smart. Like Legend of Zelda games are partially puzzle games.
Yes.
You know, he's finding simple solutions to complex problems, which, as somebody who was going into engineering, was, like, really cool to me.
Yeah, and I think Death Battle explains that, too. Like, when he was fighting Cloud. Like, he's a strategist, and he, like, finds, like, he does his best to, like, find the, solution, even if there's only one surefire means of victory.
Yeah, I think Link is at his best when the character sets out for a more personal quest and then finds himself being the only person who can save the world.
Yeah,
like in Wind Waker or Twilight Princess.
Yeah, and Majora's Mask, in fact, too, because, like, he goes on a personal quest to try and find a lost friend, and he gets roped into the situation in Termina, and I also, like, part of it is because I love the theories of Majora's Mask in that, like, Link, like, is dead and he's going through, like, the different stages of accepting grief.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, that's a theory at the end of the day, but...
A game theory.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. But it still makes, like, Majora's Mask really interesting, and it makes that version of Link, like, retroactively more, diegetic when you really, like, start digging into it. You know what I mean?
Good use of the word diegetic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also just appreciate that Link... This is always something I thought about him, but for Link, like, no problem is too big or too small. Because the way that I play Link when I play a Zelda game is I stop to help everyone.
Another honorable mention to Link from, again, Wind Waker. Wind Waker Link is just fantastic. I also really love Skyward Sword's Link.
Yeah, I think Skyward Sword's Link uses a lot of the same qualities of Wind Waker Link. I just like those qualities more in Wind Waker Link.
And, like, you were mentioning, like, the link to the game. That one moment when his face just scrunched up in anger when Girahim kidnapped Zelda, I was like, yes! Get angry!
He has some good face game.
Yeah, I was like, yes, get angry! I loved it.
I know this is a thing you've mentioned before, but I like how some of the questions you get to, like, pick from 3 answers for in Skyward Sword. Like how you can tell Groose, like, nice hair.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And that lets you, like, give a little more of your character to him.
As for favorite Ganondorf.
Well, wait, should we do Ganon first or Zelda first?
Let's do Zelda first, actually. Yeah, you're right.
I feel like we should end with Ganon. I have 2 major ones I'm thinking of, but I think the one that's winning out for me is actually Spirit Tracks.
Oh, Spirit Tracks Zelda is great.
Spirit Tracks is a great game, guys. Stop being mean.
No, Spirit Tracks is a wonderful game. Who's saying it's a bad game?
People who didn't give it a chance because they don't like trains.
Okay, guys, if you haven't played Spirit Tracks because you think it's like just because of the trains, Play the damn game!
That's narrow-minded.
It's a fantastic playthrough.
That's narrow-minded as hell. You're the one on rails.
I remember we explained on our top 10 trains that, like, yeah, you think it's too futuristic for Zelda? Wind Waker had photography! It had camera! Which we didn't develop until after
trains.
Trains. Like, we had steam power long before we had permanent image portable photography.
And we already, like, have bombs, so we can't be that far off of, you know, using coal.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, that is it.
But I didn't see that we completed fabric. I'm gonna go check. Meanwhile,
okay, but I'm saying Spirit Track Zelda because she's with you right by your side the entire time, and she's really useful. I like that she can possess things. Yeah, you're missing 5 motifs.
Yeah, but from what?
Huh.
Did I miss something? I'm gonna go check the rest of the... maybe something else opened up with the other neighbors or something? I'm gonna check. But anyway, we were on Favorite Zelda, right?
Yeah, I like how Spirit Track Zelda has like her little freak out when she first gets on.
Oh, that's like one of the best parts.
Like, I can't go with you. Princesses aren't supposed to go on these missions.
Yeah, like...
I like how she's kind of sheltered, but also feisty and wants to help and yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of just checking.
Could anything have been added to the shop?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm gonna check. Oh, what was I going to say?
Do you have a favorite Zelda?
Yes. Okay, nothing here. Sorry, I'm kind of flabbergasted. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, nothing in the shops. I'm gonna check the other neighbors real quick. Maybe I missed something. But, if I had to pick my favorite Zelda, I think I gotta go with, Skyward Sword Zelda.
That's my runner-up.
Yeah, she's just wonderful. She's a great character. She's, like, feisty, she's confident, she's clearly in love with Link, and I kind of love it because their interactions are gold. And seeing her do what needs to be done despite, despite the cards that are being dealt to her, is really inspiring. Also, the final moment, like, where you see, like, the triangulate group there with, like, Link, Zelda, and Groose, like, that's the Triforce right there. It's like, aww.
Oh, try going back to Kirby's house.
Kirby's Pat?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes when you're doing stages, you get a message from a friend where they say, like, gee, your house is so fun, Kirby, and they come and they bring you a fabric. No? Because I know friends can meet you here in Kirby's pad and give you something.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, try this. Go complete a stage, like any stage of the game.
Okay, let's just do the first stage then.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Alright. Well, this gives us a little more time to do what we need to do, I guess.
We need to at least get through this question.
This is a long episode.
What has this been, like 2 hours?
I don't think it's been 2 hours, but maybe it has?
It's 4 o'clock.
Oh my god! I mean, we got like started a little late in our recording, but goodness gracious, yeah, you might be right. Favorite Ganondorf?
Groose from Skyward Sword is my favorite Ganondorf. No, okay, but I got into a long argument with somebody about whether or not Groose was... Very respectful argument. No, my favorite Ganondorf is easily Wind Waker Ganondorf.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. Wind Waker Ganondorf is wonderful.
Gotta go for that sympathetic villain.
Yeah, like, he was sympathetic. Great boss fight. Great motivation. Like, he had a clear presence throughout the entire game. Just wow. Like, the entirety of, like, Wind Waker Ganondorf is just... That's how you write a villain. That is how you do a villain, guys. I would like to give special mention to, Twilight Princess Ganondorf.
Yeah, he's
just
really
for
cool.
how imposing he was.
He gets stabbed in the chest and laughs about it.
Yeah, like, he was freaky, man.
Ginger K's also had one little extra part of her question there, which was favorite and least favorite Impa. Because Impa is in a lot of the games.
Favorite and least favorite Impa. Interesting.
As far as games that she actually appears in, I mean, she's in the instruction manual for Adventure of Link.
Right.
So she's supposedly the one that tells Link about the sleeping Princess Zelda and sends him on the journey. You also have... She might also be actually in the instruction manual for the first Zelda, I don't remember. Then there's Impa in Ocarina of Time.
Right.
There's Impa in Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. That's the really muscly Impa. And there's Skyward Sword Impa. Okay, yeah, and then there's Impaz, the old lady in Twilight Princess.
Right.
Who's in the Hidden Village. And there's old lady Impa in
Breath of the Wild. Who is like tons of entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think there's also a Impa in Link Between Worlds.
I believe so, yeah. I don't know what my least favorite Impa is. If anything, probably the Seasons one.
Yeah, I'm not going to count the Zelda ones where it's, like, the NES ones where she really only exists in the instruction manual. So, I mean, I guess for just having not very much to do, I would pick the Link Between Worlds Impa.
Uh-huh.
I kind of want to pick the Oracle of Seasons one, because she's, like, guarding Din, and then Din's captured, and it's like, Impa, you had one job. But... yeah, nothing that I really have, like, really strong feelings about.
Alright, guys, this is basically going to be a rehash of, like, playing through the levels I've already played through so to get the rest of these fabrics. But, yeah, I'm basically just going to be playing through these levels.
And coolest Impa is Skyward Sword Impa.
Yeah, no, that Impa's great. For me, personally, Hyrule Warriors Impa.
Oh, I wasn't even counting that.
Oh, goodness, is she awesome!
Okay, yeah.
Like, wow!
I feel like Hyrule Warriors is just, like, the weaponization of how she is in Skyward Sword.
In a way, yeah. But yeah, like, Impa in Hyrule Warriors is just amazing. Like...
and she's got two of the coolest weapons in the game.
Yeah,
got
like...
the Giant's Knife and the Naginata.
Mm-hmm. Like, I like playing as a Impa with the Naginata in Hyrule Warriors is always a thrill for me. She's easily my favorite character to play in that game. So yeah, I gotta go with Hyrule Warriors Impa if we're talking Impa.
Alright, this one comes from Vampire Hunter TK.
Alright.
Who writes, if you were to do a Castlevania Let's Play, what would you want it to be?
I've actually already contemplated on doing a Castlevania playthrough on my channel.
Oh, cool.
It's something I'm planning like later on, so I can go ahead and like give.
If you want to keep it a secret, you can.
Nah, I can go ahead and mention it. It's not gonna happen for a little while because there are just other projects that I really want to do. But if I were to pick a Castlevania game to play on my channel, Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4.
Cool.
Despite my love of Metroidvanias, and I love the heck out of, Symphony of the Night, Super Castlevania 4 is actually my favorite game in the Castlevania series.
I haven't actually played any of the Castlevanias that are actually Metroidvanias.
Uh-huh.
I've played, like, original side-scroller ones. There's an ambulance outside. You guys might hear it.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely gonna hear it. It's close enough.
Oh.
Oh, they're talking about, like, cars on the road.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to worry about that too much.
Okay.
I think it... oh, it started snowing already!
Yeah, it's snowing pretty hard.
Oh, jeez.
Coast is going crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna be done here soon, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay. But yeah, Castlevania 4. I have played and beaten Castlevania 4.
Uh-huh.
That's a great game. It's kind of so, like, against what Castlevania usually is.
Super Castlevania 4?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
As, like, the kind of game... Because I feel like there's a sequelitis about this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that doesn't make it a bad game by any means, but it's about giving, like, it gives you all this great whip control. Like, the control of this game is so good, and in that way, it kind of makes it less like the original Castlevanias, where you had to, like, plot and think so hard about, like, how you were jumping and maneuvering and how you were going to handle each room.
Yeah.
And how you were going to use your sub-weapons. Where in this, you could kind of just use the whip for everything. But, like... I'm not trying to say it's a bad game.
Yeah, no, it's just different.
It just came into my... I recommend that video, though, because it's interesting.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, no, I definitely want to play through Super Castlevania 4 on my channel eventually, because I really, really love that game a lot. Like,
yeah.
It's really well made. Like, it's a great platformer overall. Just, it's a good game.
Yeah. Hey, can we pause for a brief moment? Because they are telling us to move our cars out of the street, and I don't want to get towed.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. All right, we'll be right back, guys. All right, all good?
Yep, I did not get towed.
Yeah, in context, guys, it's snowing over here, so...
They were just... That police siren before was an announcement for everybody to get their cars off the street.
Basically. But no, we're all good. We're also plowing through this, like, little by little. I think we only got...
because it's snowing out.
Ay. But yeah, I think we only got 2 more we need to get, so I believe that's enough maybe for 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay.
We answered our last one, right?
Yeah, we got through all the Zeldas, all the... Yeah. And Castlevania, you would pick Super Castlevania 4.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question from Banana Bros.
All right.
How do you feel about the story and characters in Fire Emblem Heroes? Like, specifically, like, the story mode of Heroes.
It's a thing.
I think it's good enough to be, you know, an excuse plot for some missions.
Pretty much, and that's pretty much all it is. Like, I'm not saying that a mobile game needs to have a particularly, like, you know, complex plot. It serves its purpose, but other than that, that's basically all it is. It just serves its purpose.
Yeah, it's just enough to make me kind of interested about it.
Basically, it's enough to get me, like, playing the game and, like, you know, at least somewhat interested in these characters and what happens to them, so that's good at the very least.
I don't think anybody's playing it for the story.
No.
We actually have a thing we kind of disagree about, which is that I sort of like Surtur, and Oscar doesn't really care about him so much.
Not really.
But again, it's just that he's like a very powerful seeming villain, so he's like good enough as an obstacle. And I would use a character like that in a D&D campaign that I was running, for instance.
Whereas me, like, I'm the kind of guy who likes substance with their villains, especially, like, I don't know, I like me my understandable villains. Like, you can be evil, you can be, like, crazy, stupid evil and, like, you know, basically have nothing, like, want nothing more than, like, strength and power and whatnot. Great, that's all fine and dandy. You're not gonna win me over with a villain like that, though.
I mean, if this was an actual core Fire Emblem game, Surtur would not cut it.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like, I will.
I'm not giving him any, like, character writing awards.
Yeah, I will grant you that. Like, for being a villain that's basically just, like, in a mobile game just for the purpose of, like, you know, driving the plot forward. Yeah, I will say that Surtur does what he needs to do, and he serves the plot enough to the point where he's like, okay, yeah, he's the big bad of the villain. It's something for you to stop. Okay, cool. But yeah, like, Fire Emblem Heroes' plot is like all right. It's nothing special, but it serves its purpose, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. Diego Reyna asks, do you know a show called Death Battle? If not, I recommend it. We do, and I think we've talked about it on here before.
We talked about it, like, not too long ago.
Yeah, and I think we've answered questions about it before.
Yeah, I like Death Battle. I enjoy it.
I'm not as obsessed with it as I feel like I used to be, but I still watch everyone. My favorites are still probably the same ones. Like, I really liked Solid Snake versus Sam Fisher.
Yeah, that's definitely up. That's definitely up there as one of my favorites, easily.
Superman versus Goku.
I really enjoyed the death battle between Afro Samurai and Samurai Jack.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, it like they did that in 2D animation. Like that's something to be admired.
Also, Balrog versus TJ combo.
Oh, that was great.
That was a surprisingly good one. I didn't think that one would be so cool, but it was.
I personally love boxing, so that one spoke to me a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like Death Battle. Are we as obsessed with it as we were before? Probably not, but we still enjoy it to the point where we catch every episode when we can.
It's gotten to the point a little bit where, and this isn't their fault, but now they do so much research in it that it's gotten to the point where like the deciding factor is usually some like one really weird out of context feat of strength that one character did.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know, so it's not becoming as much broad strokes of the characters as it's becoming like, let's look through their entire comic history and figure out what the biggest thing each of them has lifted is.
Yeah.
And because of how like inconsistent some of these characters can be written, that makes some of the fights feel really like not true to them.
Essentially. See, that's how I felt about like the Zelda and Peach situation.
Yeah. Up there goes that,
Yep, there they go again.
I moved my car, don't worry.
Yeah, no, they're basically making sure that, like, they're prepared for tomorrow, because we're supposed to get a really big snowstorm tonight.
Yep. I'm hoping to get called off of work, even though there's a lot of important work that I need to do, and that's going to make my job harder later.
Rain, sleet, snow, or tornadoes, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, Mr. Newscast.
Yep.
See, I work for PennDOT, but I'm not the person who plows the roads.
Nope, you're the one who kind of, like... You're like a tester of stuff or something.
I'm a materials engineer. I'm in a lab running tests.
Basically.
But yeah, really like Death Battle. I wouldn't say that the show's degraded in quality. I'm like not as crazy into it as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I still like it.
I think that's just a matter of like we've kind of like developed different tastes and different interests over time.
Yeah. Now, is this like the 4th or 5th person?
I think this is the 4th one.
I think this has been happening throughout the game too. That they were saying like, "Hey, come see me at your house," and we just haven't been paying attention to it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because we didn't know that this would like come down to our. Like, I figured it was just them reminding us to like play mini games.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was too. Yeah, I think this is like the second to last one because. Yeah, I think the last one we have left here is Zeke.
Okay. Oh man, our first neighbor, Zeke.
There's Mara.
I have a question, possibly our last question.
Yeah, this might be our last one.
Comes from...
Oh, hey, it's Zeke and Buster.
Oh,
cool.
Neat. This question comes from JC Alcazarin, the gaming expert.
Oh, goodness.
Who asks, who and what are your favorite episode and characters in Gravity Falls?
Ooh.
Have you watched all of Gravity Falls?
Not as extensively as you and like some of our other friends have, but I know enough of the narrative that I kind of like am able to at least give some context to this. The problem I have though is that I can't think about Gravity Falls without thinking of that awesome finale.
I think the finale is my favorite episode, actually. It's so much good payoff.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, again, like, I haven't watched every single episode of Gravity Falls, but I really do recommend it to anyone who has any interest in, like, a good animated series. Gravity Falls is a wonderful show.
It's a good series. It does a lot of... I get the feeling that it was originally going to be longer, and they cut it short, but I'm glad they did, because it means that it had, like, a good, solid ending.
Yeah, it didn't overstay its welcome. It did what it wanted to do, and overall, like, it was really good.
If not counting the finale for just all the, like, overall payoff for the series, like, if I had to pick just, like, a Monster of the Week style episode...
Yeah?
I'd say my favorite is... Oh, man, I wish I could remember the name of the character. But, when Dipper's gonna get in a fight with, with that one other guy over Wendy, and he finds an arcade cabinet and a fighting game character comes to life.
Oh, yes! I know exactly the episode you're talking about.
It's like a Street Fighter kind of character.
Yes, I don't remember his name either, but he was totally, like, freaking...
Oh.
He was basically a, like...
He's like Ryu and Ken put together.
Basically, and it's wonderful.
He was, like, specially animated by a pixel artist who's the same person who did the graphics for the Scott Pilgrim beat-em-up game.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Go figure. But yeah, like, I think John and I are both agreed that the finale of Gravity Falls is our favorite.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick my favorite character, oh god, they're all good.
Maybe Seuss, who's like the comic relief. Oh, no. My favorite character is Old Man McGucket. Who not only is funny and wacky and like a comic relief prospector, but turns out to be really important.
Yeah,
And then turns out to be... He's a kind of character I really like, who turns out to also be another kind of character I really like.
Mm-hmm. As for me, overall, like... Oh, man, like, it's really hard, but for me personally, I love me my villains, and...
Bill Cipher.
Bill freaking Cipher. Oh my god, he is tons of fun and a great villain, and I love him.
He's really disturbing in just how calm he is about all the things he does.
And that's what made, like, the payoff more satisfying, because the way they defeated him was genius.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like, he got introduced in a great way. He was a great overarching, like, motivation for the characters and everything. He drove the plot. There we go. Like,
completed all the fabric.
Like, he drove the plot forward, and just everything about, like, Bill Cipher was great.
He replaces all the orifices on
and
the body.
I think the finale gave him a great send-off.
Yeah.
Like, he went out in the best way possible. And we went out in the best way possible because we've 100%ed this game, dude.
Wow. That's a 600% right there.
Yep, we did it. I think the only thing that we didn't do in this game was, like, we got every single gold medal, but I think I am satisfied with where we are.
Yeah, there's not a 100% marker for that, so...
Yeah, so...
Does not need to be done.
On that final note, guys, thank you for joining us for this playthrough of Let's Play Kirby's Epic Yarn.
We've done it all.
We are done.
We are at the end of our rope.
I think I'm going to take your advice and basically split this finale into, like, separate parts, because goodness gracious, this went on for a while.
Yeah.
Like, even Kirby's tired. Like, yeah, we had a long day. Kirby, you did good, man. You did very good. Thank you for bringing us on this really, really comfy adventure.
It was a comfy adventure. This was a great game.
It felt like pants.
It felt like pants.
As for what we're going to do next time, continuing with, like, the Q&A series, there's one game I have in mind that I think you and I can do for the Q&A that I think will work really well. I'm not going to announce it here because, again, we had a similar idea before that just didn't work. But, we'll see. But in the meantime, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for all the questions. Keep them coming, guys. Like, the episodes are still there. Keep asking questions. We're going to be looking back on the episodes and, like, the questions that we didn't cover in this playthrough, and we're going to apply it to the next one. So, thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Later.